And we'd like to welcome you to another edition of Spotlight on Long Island Schools on 103.9 LI News Radio. And catch us on the web at linewsradio.com. I'm your host, Bob Vecchio. Be sure to like our Facebook page, Spotlight on Long Island Schools, to suggest a program, club, or activity that your school district is involved in, and your students may be the next one right here in our Spotlight. This week, our Spotlight takes us to the home of the Colonials in the William Floyd School District, and one of their programs that has dominated, and I mean dominated, state competitions year after year after year, and we're talking about the William Floyd's Youth in Government program, and we are pleased to be joined by three seniors who have been involved in this program. All of you have been involved since the ninth grade. Yep, they're nodding their heads yes. And let me tell you something, this ninth grade class that started out that are now high school seniors made an impressive splash in their first year, and I'm excited to have them in studio. So first, let me introduce, and we'll learn about why they have these titles going into the state conference this year. A.G. Chancellor, who was elected last year up in Albany to be this year's governor. A.G., welcome to Spotlight on Long Island Schools.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and are you looking forward to becoming the governor of the conference and overseeing it this year?
Yes, it's something I'm really excited to do. I have a lot of plans for bringing unity, bringing ideas of communication, and bringing everyone together, because I think that's my most important job as governor.
Spoken like a true politician, and we also have his lieutenant governor, Sarah Mazzarella. Sarah, you're a high school senior, so you ran as lieutenant governor. What was it like to campaign among all those kids up in Albany? And we'll get into the process a little bit later.
Campaigning with a bunch of kids. I ran against 3 boys. I was the only girl to run between youth governor and youth lieutenant governor. So I think that gave me a leg up just because I stood out a little bit up on the stage. When you campaign, you have to get around to all 600 people. You have to get around to the judicial branch, the legislative branch, and just have your face seen everywhere and talk to as many people as you can.
And we have the Speaker of the Assembly, Lexi Willets. You're also a high school senior. So you oversee the Assembly, and the Assembly, can get a little raucous at times, right? So tell us what you're looking forward to doing this year in the Assembly.
So this year in the Assembly, along with my deputy speaker, I'm really looking forward to really maintaining that whole idea of unity and equality throughout the chamber, and making sure that everyone knows that one person's opinion is really just as valuable as the next person's opinion, even though you might not agree with what each other is saying.
Now, we kind of jumped ahead a little bit because I wanted to introduce you all. So, Mr. Governor, to you, tell us what youth in government is for our listening audience who doesn't know. To sum it up, it's really a mock state government, and you guys learn how to basically run a government, propose bills, laws, debate bills, and, of course, oversee the different branches. So really get into what it means to you guys and what this program is all about.
All right, so I think you did a great job explaining the basic premise of what it is. We get to go, and you have a legislative component, a judicial component that does what those respective branches do. I think the beauty of youth in government is that it goes beyond just what the government does, and you start talking about issues such as why things are done and for what purposes people are doing certain things, and it gets into people's motivations. And I think a lot of people want to do good and they want to help, and you see that throughout the program. And what youth in government does, it gives them the skills to go and make those aspirations a reality, and that's what I want to do, and that's why I've gotten to the program. And I think that's really what the program is about.
And Sarah, when you're proposing bills or you're taking on issues, you guys are dealing with very real life issues, and you're having some very deep discussions and deep debates. So there's a lot of research that goes into it. So talk to us about some of the issues that have stood out. You've been involved in this program since a freshman is ninth grade, and of course it's a pretty well-known program at William Floyd because of its success and its attraction to learning about civics. What are some of the topics that you guys are going to be tackling this year, and what was probably one of your favorite bills or topics that you've tackled in the past?
My personal favorite bill that I have done is in ninth grade when Common Core was a very hot topic. We banned standardized testings. Lexi was in my group, grades 3 through 5. This year we have a lot of really pressing topics. My bill this year is to allow convicted felons that are in county jails to vote. It is something that California just passed. It is really pressing. So I'm just hoping for some really good debate, and I want to see what everyone
All right,
thinks.
so I'm gonna quiz you a little bit about that because you've piqued my interest. Convicted felons who are sitting in a county jail system, right? You want to give them the ability to vote. So what are some of the pros, right? Because you guys do pros and cons on every proposed bill that you hope to become a law at the conference that culminates up in Albany. What are some of the pros to make that happen?
Well, now currently there are about 15,000 prisoners held in county jails. It's not federal or state prison, and they're usually held there for 3 years or less, usually less severe crimes. And in close elections, their vote can make a very big impact. And also, in when they leave county jail and are off parole, then they are once allowed to vote in New York State elections. But it is a really big process to get them then again to vote. They have to get a lot of paperwork signed, has to go through a lot of different offices, and sometimes they do not know the process. They just don't take initiative, so not taking
So they
this
never go
away
back
at
to
all.
voting again.
Not taking this away at all would
So
help
as a
that.
con, right? I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to debate you a little bit here. They committed a crime. They've lost
Yeah,
their rights.
exactly.
That's why they're in jail. So
Yeah.
why should they have the right to vote? If they've lost the privilege, they've done something against society that put them in jail, they were convicted by their peers. So you lose some rights, which is why you're in the county jail system that the taxpayer is paying for. Why should I give them the right to vote? Convince me.
I think one of the reasons why they should have the right to vote is, although they are a felon, they are an American citizen. And once they are released from the jail and off parole, they are re-allowed to vote. So why not grant them that? Why take that right away just for 1 to 3 years?
And as long as they're in the jail of the county that they originally resided, what if they are displaced into another county jail system that wasn't their hometown? Now, are you artificially inflating the vote of a different county?
That is where I don't know where I'm going with that yet, but I'm looking into that with.
And this is what
California's
youth in
doing.
government is about. They tackle these issues, and you're going to have, and it's a boisterous group. I mean, you got people who are very passionate about supporting a bill, and you'll have people who are just as passionate to tear that bill down. And that's the process, and that's part of what you learn. Lexi, same question for you. One of your favorite bills that you've experienced in your history of youth in government, or what are you proposing this year?
I'm going to have to say one of my favorite bills, besides the Common Core bill that Sarah and I did my freshman year, would have to be the bill that we ended up doing last year, which was mandating health, 2 years ago, which we did in our sophomore year, would be to mandate sex ed being taught in all health classes, because we realized throughout our high school, along with other high schools, sex ed wasn't being taught on the same level in all classes. So some teachers would push more abstinence when other teachers would push more contraceptive use. So we wanted to make the curriculum the same so that way each student is learning the same.
So now I'm going to debate you on that bill, right? I'm a school board member. Why should Albany tell me what to teach in my classrooms? What about local control? Why should I allow the state of New York to make it uniform across the state?
Well, right now there still is a curriculum within New York State that teachers have to abide by. So that would just be another part of the curriculum added in, since the state is already telling teachers that they have to teach, for an example, Common Core and certain maths and certain Englishes. This would just be an addition onto that.
But you don't want Common Core testing, right? So you want local control when it comes to that part, right? But you want to mandate it across. See, this is what you do in youth in government. And they're kind of cringing. They're like, we thought this was going to be an easy interview tonight. But these kids, they learn about the process, and they have to think quick on their feet, because when they're amongst their peers, and there's about 600 AG across New York State that
Yes.
gather up in Albany, and they actually take over the State House. You actually take over the Senate chamber. You actually take over the Assembly chamber. I don't think you move into Governor Cuomo's house or whatever, but you do have offices set up there for the weekend. So tell us about the weekend that culminates. So you guys start working in the summer, and you're working all school year long, and then everybody gathers around the state up in Albany. Tell us about what goes on up there.
It's a great social experience. When you first get up there, all the districts are arriving. There's 100 kids in the hotel courtyard throwing flyers at you, campaigning for their respective people, and you just get to talk to people that you would normally not get to know. So me being from Long Island, I would never meet someone from Rochester or from Ticonderoga or from a small town like Bolton that I've never heard of before.
Right.
But it gives you an opportunity to talk about these people and see how region affects their political ideologies and how they view the world, and how it really does matter where you come from because you have different opinions and you see the world differently. And youth in government, I think the weekend helps you to understand those differences and to respect them more.
And when you're campaigning, you got to make a lot of friends, not just from your home school district. And if you're dominating like Floyd, you probably have a few people that are not fans. So how do you go about campaigning and winning them over? Right from the bus, right?
I think people respect when they see someone who's good at what they do and care about what they're doing. So we just try to show people that we care about them and we care about the good of the program, and it tends to work out.
Great. You're listening to Spotlight on Long Island Schools on 103.9 LI News Radio. We're talking with the kids from the Youth in Government program here at William Floyd High School. And when we come back from the break, we'll learn more about what's going to happen up in Albany and their plans beyond William Floyd. And we'd like to welcome you back to Spotlight on Long Island Schools on 103.9 LI News Radio. And again, catch us on the web at linewsradio.com. Don't forget to like that Facebook page, Spotlight on Long Island Schools, to suggest a program, club, or activity that your district is involved in. And your kids could be right here in our Spotlight. Once again, we're speaking with the kids from the William Floyd School District, home of the Colonials, and we're talking with the Youth in Government program students. And we have the governor, the lieutenant governor, and speaker of the assembly, who they ran for office last year to get elected to these posts, and that's the post that they have this year. So, Sarah, you know, we were talking with the AG right before the break about campaigning, and you kind of alluded to it in the earlier segment. How difficult is it to convince kids from across New York State to say, elect me, not them, and here's the reason why? Do you have a campaign manager? Do you have to have a plan of attack? Take us through what it takes.
Yeah, we usually appoint a campaign manager, and for the bigger positions like lieutenant governor and governor, we usually have one on the judicial side and the legislative side, and sometimes in each perspective chamber. I know I had 3 campaign managers this year, and they talk to as many people about you and for you while you are also making face-to-face connections. But I think one of the biggest parts about campaigning for office is how you conduct yourself on the debate floor, or if you're a chair that you're running, how you run the chamber, and your speech. If your speech is powerful, strong, and draws people in, people are most likely going to listen.
So we have, with this program, you learn about government, you learn how to write a bill, how to debate a bill, pro or con, the why government works and why does it do what it does. And you also learn about campaigning, so speech writing, what it takes to interact, and interpersonal skills with people who are complete strangers and to entrust them with your vote. Lexi, the governor and lieutenant governor, they really have it easy. They just sit back while the speaker of the assembly is doing all the work and pro temp over in the Senate, because you guys are taking all these bills and you have a docket you got to get through, because then AG just sits back and says, well, do I want to approve the bill? Do I want to veto it? He really has it made. And then the lieutenant governor is the one running back and forth, making him look good all weekend. I get it. At the top, top of the food chain. And that's why, he's sitting back in the seat right now. You can't say this on the radio. He's like, yep, I am the governor. But you do a lot of work. You have a heavy calendar you got to get through. So what are some of the things that you are going to be doing in the assembly to make sure it runs efficiently? And what are some of the things that might concern you that could develop in the assembly that throws off your calendar?
So a big part of running an efficient chamber that I learned last year, because I had the opportunity to chair last year, is time management and making sure that the debate and the time to present bills is all cut even between all the bills, and making sure that we're not cutting bills short and cutting debate short. So really creating a mock schedule of how many bills you want to be able to get through before lunch, after lunch, on Saturday, on Sunday, and really making sure that you have a good control over who your debaters are and how long you want the debate to last. One thing that really took a hinder on timing last year was hostile amendments. We had a decent amount in our chamber, which kind of put a damper in the time management part of it. But at the end of the day, at the end of the weekend, all the kinks and all the things that we needed to get worked out were able to get worked out, which was nice.
Great. Now, you three also participated in what's called Kona. And I guess basically you take the best of the best from each of the states and you do the same thing on a federal level. So, AG, tell us about Kona, where you go, what it's about, and tell us about the experience that you've had the opportunity to witness and deal with firsthand.
Well, Kona takes about 600 and something students down for us to Black Mountain, North Carolina, to the Blue Ridge Mountain Center. You're amongst the trees and you get to see the sky and the sunset every morning. It's great. And you go there and you debate federal topics. So we have issues on Colombian drug trades and trade reform and our relationships with other nations such as Kuwait and things of that nature. And you get to see youth in government on a much larger scale. And you get to hear even more ideas than you would at the state level because the opinions of people from Texas greatly differ with the opinions of people up north in Massachusetts. Sure. So it brings the country together and it lets you know that we are unified. And I think that's the big thing about Kona, that despite the diversity you have and despite the differences, we all come together in the end.
And from a research standpoint, you get some high privilege access to some information as well being a participant in Kona. Speak to that as well.
Yes, there's actually a research room, and we have people that we drop off requests for different parts of information, and they will get it back to us, kind of like Congress has where they send their little attendants out to the Library of Congress to fetch anything they need. So that's always useful when you're preparing for a debate from the floor.
Great. And what time of the year does that take place, Kona?
It takes place in the summer.
Okay. So now you've been involved with this program, Sarah, since the 9th grade. You're graduating this coming June. What are some of the things that 10, 15 years from now you're going to remember most as far as an important life lesson that youth in government has taught you?
I think youth in government has taught me that no matter where you end up in life, there is going to be something that needs advocating for, and this program has taught me, and I think many others that have passed through it, how to advocate on a professional level, respectful level, and how to get people to listen. And no matter where you work, if you're working at a law firm, if you're working for something that pertains to theater and the arts, business, the skills that you learn here, I think you will always be able to use.
Great. And beyond William Floyd, where are you looking to go, and what are you looking to do for a living after all that?
As of now, I plan to study music education and minor in public policy. I'm not sure where I will be attending school, but definitely somewhere that has a strong program in both because I'm not exactly sure which path I'm going to take yet.
Okay. Sounds like a slacker to me. Music education and policy you're great. Lexi, same question for you. What has been the most gratifying experience that you had that you're going to remember 20 years from now? And what are your plans after William Floyd?
I think one of the most important things that I'm going to be able to take away from Youth in Government and the program is not really the whole political aspect on remembering every pro and con that you debated up in Albany, but just the whole social aspect of learning how to approach people from down in Texas when I was in North Carolina, or going up to someone at state conference and really being able to make that genuine connection with them and be able to talk to them with common similarities. And I think that's the biggest thing, is public speaking and being able to communicate with others in a professional manner.
And beyond William Floyd?
Next year I'm going to be attending Queen's University of Charlotte in North Carolina. So I'm really excited for that. I plan on studying international relations and finance. So hopefully.
Another slacker. I got it. And what do you hope to do long term?
Long term, I want to be working for a Fortune 5 company and hopefully be in the city somewhere working with the business and working my way up.
Great. AG, you've been an impressive member of Youth in Government. I remember as a freshman, you won Best Debater as a freshman, is that correct?
Not as a freshman, but I recently did at Kona.
Okay. So I just remember seeing you come up through the ranks, and very impressive. So same question for you. What's been the most memorable life experience you've taken away from this program, and what are your plans after William Floyd?
I think Youth in Government has taught me that you can be ambitious with a noble purpose. I've met a lot of people who have goals and they have things that they want to achieve, and I've seen them work towards them and achieve them. And I think having that encouragement that if I set my mind to a goal and I work hard and I set my sights on it, I can get it. that's been the most rewarding thing for youth in government in my past.
Okay, and beyond William Floyd, what are the plans?
Beyond William Floyd, I want to major in public policy and probably dual in biology at this point.
Another slacker. I don't understand. Okay.
I don't have a specific college in mind yet, but I'm looking at Yale and Duke and things of that nature. And long term, I see myself going into politics in the future because I just love it.
And I don't doubt that for a minute. And speaking of politics, it takes a lot to take several hundred kids up to Albany, and you take over the Desmond Hotel, and it takes some great resources. And last year, William Floyd was the lucky recipient of a member item grant from Senator Croce that basically covered some of the travel expenses and the fees associated with this program. And I know you guys do fundraising throughout the year to help offset the individual costs. So AG, talk to us about what it meant from you for the state senator to really kind of take that burden off of everybody's shoulders, and we didn't have to buy cookie dough and candles and stuff like that. So what did it mean to the group when that happened?
I think it meant a lot. It meant that we had an opportunity to send more people. It meant that we had the opportunity for more people to experience this life-changing program. And when we got to meet Senator Croce when he came down and to see that he really cared about giving people this opportunity, I was glad to know that we had somebody in the political field that is doing their job, being a public servant, and that's what it meant.
We've been speaking with the students from William Floyd High School and their Youth in Government program. The governor, AG Chancellor, congratulations. Thank you for being here. Sarah, Lieutenant Governor, all the best, and thank you. And Lexi, Speaker of the Assembly, make sure you get through that calendar, and I am confident you will. We want to thank them for joining us right here on Spotlight on Long Island Schools on 103.9 LI News Radio. And again, like our Facebook page, Spotlight on Long Island Schools, to get your district right here in our Spotlight. Until the next time, this is Bob Vecchio saying thank you for joining us right here on 103.9 LI News Radio.